is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services and our CBSI Talking Business interview series. We talk to leaders in the field of digital marketing, banking, insurance, customer service, and business education. And all to highlight our team at CBSI. We're in Harrison, New York. We provide insurance-based benefits to the credit card and payments industry. And we're really glad to be back today with our friend John Witkowski, who is the president and CEO of the Independent Bankers Association of New York. John, how are you today?
Doing very well, Ken. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. You know, the independent bankers did tremendous work serving their communities during the pandemic. Hopefully, we're maybe getting to the end of it. So much good work supporting small business with the Paycheck Protection programs, going through digital transformation. What are some of the highlights of the way your members have served the public in their communities during this pandemic, would you say?
Well, I have to say is that the community banks really stepped up during this whole time, working with families, working with small businesses, working with all our customers, the loan customers by, going through forbearance or going through different mitigation processes for them to make sure that they can still open up the doors the next day and also stay in their homes. And as far as, forbearance on a number of loans and working with every one of their customers individually, they've really done a great job. As far as the PPP loans, again, community banks stepped up and really were the key to getting those loans throughout their communities into small businesses. And a lot of their non-customers came to community banks for the simple fact that they were very proficient in how they got it done. Some of the, there's no disparaging any of our bigger banks, but they were overloaded. And some of the smaller customers end up going to their community banks, and more than happy to help.
Absolutely. Now, one of the areas and we've chatted about is digital transformation in community banks, helping customers and clients be able to access their information, access their accounts digitally during the pandemic. The whole process, they say, has been speeded up by a number of years. What are some of the success stories, you might say, and how your banks have used technology to help their customers through the pandemic that'll go forward?
Well, again, I mean, if you look at a lot of the community banks prior to the pandemic, I shouldn't say a lot, but a number of them didn't have online accounts or didn't have online applications or, even digital wallets. So what happened is a lot of them had to speed up the process and get that all as part of their process for their customers. And again, when you see the bank closures, the branch closures during that time, and having half your staff, they had to split their staff so not everybody would be in the office at the same time, just to make sure people were safe and healthy. The community banks really did an amazing job in taking care of their clients and taking care of their customers throughout the whole process.
Talking with John Witkowski, President and CEO of the Independent Bankers Association of New York State. Now, John, one of the things that you've talked with us about is how banks are able to maintain technology, be able to serve their customers, match services of some of the larger banks. And one of the ways is working with fintech companies and other types of technology providers. What are some of the key services that community banks can use and benefit from fintechs?
Well, again, if you talk about the mobile wallets and digitalization of their applications for lending, and just being able to collect that information, you look about the AI these days, all of the information that's out there, being able to use some of these fintechs to gather the information and provide it back to the banks to use for their next level sale, to use to make sure that, the way they're marketing and looking at their communities or regions is appropriate. So, a lot of things that community banks can't do because it's not because they don't want to, it's just the size of the talent that they have, the number of people in their offices and the size of the bank. They only can wear so many hats. Community bankers are people that have multiple hats that they're wearing during the course of the day. And when you get into now the technology and the piece of this that is supposed to make life easier for their customers, sometimes it's not the right people in the bank that will be able to start that. So they wear multiple hats, but it's much better for the customers. And you look at the fintechs, all the digitalization, all the AI, artificial intelligence that they can use to next level sale is important these days.
Very good. And want to highlight one of your members, Robert Fisher, President and CEO of Tioga State Bank in Spencer, New York, is serving this year as the national chairman of the Independent Community Bankers Association of America. Very prominent post. Tell us a little bit about his term this year. Some of the work Robert Fisher's been doing.
Well, Bob's been also, fourth or fifth generation community banker down in Spencerport, New York. Bob has been just a huge supporter and great proponent of community banks, and he's had the honor of being named chair for the last year. So he's been around the country, going to different association events, conventions, testifying on the Hill for a number of different legislative issues that ICBA brings up at the federal level. But Bob is he's tireless. He's one of these guys that is always on. If you ever ask him to do something, he's always there for you. He's just a good country boy. I'll use that word, but he's just a good guy, and he really has passion for community banks. And I give him a lot of credit for being able to go around the country, probably 26 or 27 different events this year that he's been to, and traveling around and going away from his bank. He's got a lot of good people at the bank that take care of it. But, Bob is one of these guys that it's just a good face for community banking.
Absolutely. And John Witkowski, just tell us a little bit, what are some of the plans you have for your organization, Independent Bankers Association of New York, some of the events and some of the topics that you'll be working on?
Yeah, this year we have a few events coming up. We have on April 4th and 5th, we're calling to Spring Into Action for Community Banks. It's a virtual event, a 2-day event where we have 6 speakers on each day that we open up to our banks to pay one price, but all employees of that bank can come and go as they please with the virtual event that we're putting on through and hosting it through Zoom. We have a number of different meetings coming up as well. We have a directors meeting coming up on April 11th. And then we have our big convention on June 13th to the 15th at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino out in Syracuse or Rome, New York. And that's a 2-day event, actually 2.5-day event, where we come in on Monday, have a little fun, play some golf and some other activities for people who are non-golfers, a little dinner. Then the next 2 days are education and covering topics such as cannabis, such as cryptocurrency, cyber fraud, and CECL, which is the new way they have to look at their loan portfolios and risk their loan portfolios. We have a number of different topics that we're going after that are important to community banks and are important to the future of community banks. Number of fintechs are going to sit there. We're going to talk about are going to sit in these meetings and give us some insight of what they're doing and how they can help us from the community bank side. And then, we'll talk a little bit about the economy and what's happening there. So June 13th to the 15th, Turning Stone, and you can get more information on our website at ibanese.net.
Well, we'll look forward to highlighting that. Got some interesting events coming up, and hopefully you'll be able to have an in-person event, bringing your association members together and all your partners in the banking industry together at that event. John Witkowski, always a pleasure to talk with you, CEO of the Independent Bankers Association New York. I'm going to do one more question. You're a former NFL player. Who do you like in the Super Bowl?
It's a tough call, but I'm going to have to go with the Rams. I just think that their defense and up front, their front seven are very good. And I think that Joe Burrow is going to be under some pressure, but I got to tell you, I think it's going to be a close game. And Joe Burrow has done some great things this year, and I'm happy for Matt Stafford that he got there after 12 years with the Lions. But again, I think it's going to be it's a great game. I don't think it was expected, and I think one of these things that I think the Rams are just too good defensively to not win this game.
Well, I met Matthew Stafford at a banking event when he was just starting out in the NFL, and yeah, it is good to see that after his career, he is now going to play in the Super Bowl. So that's something to look forward to. John Witkowski, thank you. Always good to see you, and look forward to doing this again very soon.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate the time.
Pleasure. And again, thank you. This is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services, CBSI Talking Business. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.